Hello, it's July 14th, 2021. It's a CI subgroup of SIG Node, and we are talking about node conformance tests. So conformance tag was created for Kubernetes certification program. It's supposed to be agnostic test that supposed to work everywhere. And if you pass them, you certify it to be called Kubernetes or something. I think initial idea was that node conformance will be in the same vein. So it's a subset of tests that doesn't require a cluster that can be run. And if you can, if your node components pass this test, and your node is certified as a compatible or something. However, there was no agreement that it will be part of certification program in any sense. So as time passed, I don't think there were any attempts to make it part of certification program, nor any desire so far. So the word conformance is initially intended to be same as conformance in cluster test, but it doesn't actually represent what it currently is. So I think we can, today we have, ordering is a little bit weird. So if you look at this conformance tag description, there is a document saying how to do CRI testing policy. I have this red sign on the link. So this policy explaining how to contribute runtime test results into common dashboard, but I'm not sure whether anybody using that. So there is a FAQ and all sorts of documentation, but I don't know whether anybody using this program and to certify their runtimes. I think we are running containerd tests right now and the cryo tests as part of our test grid, and there is nobody contributing back CRI test results. But nevertheless, I think this is the reason, by the way, Elana, that initially you've been pointed to CRI as a node conformance kind of is something that started node conformance because of this document, I think. But I mean, description of this document saying that tests should be agnostic to cloud providers, OS distributions, and runtimes. So it's basically a set of tests that doesn't require any special handling. So everything is supposed to be working without any special configuration. And I think it's a fine definition, we can use it. And I suggest that we keep, we rename conformance test to something more appropriate. And then for everything else, everything else being alpha, beta features, plus some features that have special requirements, we can use feature tag, plus some extra tags like alpha or special to indicate why it makes it so special. And then when feature is graduated, we can rename it into node conformance or whatever new name we will come up with. This will indicate that this feature is supported by every distribution, and it's part of big, part of required tests for Node. So this is a proposal, and I think I just combined this document out of different sources, and I think that may be how we can structure tests. And if you publish it as a policy, we can clean up all the tests. Right now, many tests have conformance plus feature. And I think this is not what we intended to do. What do you think?
Amen to all that. That was great. Thanks for doing all this research, Sergey. And particularly, I didn't even know about this CRI testing policy. This is totally news to me. So this is awesome. Thanks for doing all this digging. And hopefully the digging that I started at SIG-Arch a couple of weeks ago was also helpful as a starting point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that we should probably, like, I would say next steps are probably to send something out to like SIG Node mailing lists, like share this publicly maybe, and get feedback. I'm sure that DIMS will have opinions. I'm sure that like if we could get like Aaron or Ben Elder to weigh in, they should have opinions. I'm sure the conformance folks will have opinions. So yeah, I think just getting eyes on this, and we might want to come up with, before we set this publicly, we might want to figure out a new name for node conformance. But other than that, I think this is great.
Yeah. I was thinking like not. I don't know. Like all my names are stupid, so and names are hard. Main suit or like main tests, something like that.
Sanity suit, I don't know.
Well, so I guess I think that we should totally move away. Well, I guess it depends. Like, there's kind of two options, right? So, like, historically, we've had this thing, and like the node end-to-end test to this day, like, there's this idea of being able to run a subset of all of the tests just with a node without like a fully functioning cluster. And so I think that we might need some way to indicate that, and I don't think node conformance is a good way to do that. And then I think there's maybe the separate issue of like, how do we make sure that all of the CRIs are like functioning the way that the CRIs are supposed to function? And maybe for that we could replace, like, right, previously we had this like conformance tag with the hope that this will be kind of like a, you know, CRI conformance or that kind of thing. But the conformance scheme has asked us, maybe please don't use conformance because that's confusing people. And I agree, I was confused. So maybe like, what about like for the CRI specific ones, like maybe we could try the name, like I'm thinking CRI validation or something like that.
Yeah, but these tests are not CRI specific. It's basically like it validates all the components that are present on a node. So if like...
Oh yeah, no, so I know that. I'm saying we shouldn't like wholesale just rename all of the node conformance tests. I'm saying for whatever meets this like CRI validation criteria, we should relabel those as CRI validation. And I think we should figure out a different story for what we do for the like test that just you can run locally kind of thing. You don't need a full cluster. I basically, you know, the node conformance is trying to do too much. We should split it. That is my proposal.
Okay, so you're suggesting that there will be not two categories, but like third category will be, well, I guess conformance will be set of subcategories like CRI, validation, configuration.
Yeah, so I mean, there's like the actual, anything that's a real conformance test should be marked with conformance. And anything that's not a real conformance test should not be marked as conformance. And so my suggestion is, like, I think that, you know, all of the like the standard feature things that we used to call node feature, whatever, that we're trying to migrate to just use the standard feature tags, those are fine. The reason I think that we were tagging them specifically like node as opposed to like, you know, just a normal feature was because we could run them just on like a single node in a more minimal node end-to-end test setup. And so that's the thing that we're kind of losing. And that's part of like why there's like a bunch of confusion here, is that like historically node conformance was trying to be two things. Thing number one was it was trying to be a reduced set of the end-to-end tests you could just run on one node. And second, it was also trying to be a set of conformance tests for nodes. And I think if we like try to split that into two things, I think there's also overlap, right? Like some of the things that are conformance tests could just be run on like one node without like a fully functioning cluster, depending on what components are required. But maybe not all. Like for example, I think that there's no scheduler in the node E2E setup. So there would be some like, there's like some things that wouldn't make any sense to put there because you have to have a scheduler for, you know, like full cluster conformance. Does that make sense? Like, I think that we should treat the two things like they are two separate things and possibly split them into two separate things.
Yeah. I'm trying to. Yeah, I think is that node conformance would be pretty much everything that doesn't require any special treatment on a single node. So you're saying there is separate dimension for that is which part of kubelet we're testing. Oh, like, so CRIs
I'm
can
gonna
run a
write down what I'm
subset.
thinking.
Okay.
So that way it's like clear. Does that make sense? So for people who are not staring at my screen or the text is too small or whatever I said. So for the conformance, historically, node conformance tried to be two things. One, it tried to be a set of end-to-end tests you just needed one node for. Two, it tried to be conformance-like tests for nodes. And I'm suggesting we get rid of the name node conformance because it's confusing everyone. And then for the conformance-like tests that we want to like have the CRI run against, we should call them something else, probably CRI validation. And then for the tests that you just need one node to run, we should come up with a new name for them that is not node conformance. And it's possible there might be overlap between the two. So I'm sure that like some of the CRI validation tests will not need a full cluster to run. So they would also probably be in whatever we want to call this, like, this needs a name.
Yeah, but isn't it all the tests that in this folder doesn't need any cluster? So
Yeah, so anything
this
in
way.
this is like anything in, I think it's like test/e2e underscore node as opposed to e2e/node.
Yeah. So basically all the tests needs to be marked with a tag.
Like,
but I mean, it's already marked with SIG Node.
Yeah, but yes.
Yeah.
But I think that there
so
are
SIG Node, but without cluster. Okay.
And then we could get rid of the special weird e2e underscore node folder, perhaps, like, because that's been confusing everybody as well. So I don't know. I mean, that's one way we could go forward. I think we need to get feedback on this because maybe that's going to just be too much refactoring effort or something like that.
A single node test or something would work easily enough, or like kubelet local or something.
Kubelet local looks nice to me because the reason is, I believe, it's not really a single node cluster. So maybe I misheard because it's a very, very specific environment. So kubelet local seems very nice to me.
Yeah, like it technically spins up like an API server and an etcd, but like mostly for like dynamic config and reporting back statuses.
And there's definitely no scheduler because you have to schedule and admit the pods manually.
Yeah.
But this tag can be added automatically by sig describe, right? Because it's applied to the entire folder.
My concern was, so you know how this definitely applies to everything in the test/e2e underscore node. We also have a bunch of tests labeled sig node in test/e2e/node. And then I think there's a bunch of common tests as well that are us. So we do have some that require a scheduler, I think, currently.
Wait, we don't have any tests in this folder that require scheduler, right? We only have a separate.
Okay. e2e underscore node is special, but then we also have
yeah, a different one. Tests end-to-end node, right?
In case people are like, what are you talking about? Are you losing your mind? No. There is, in fact, a test e2e underscore node folder and then a different e2e/node folder.
I learned this the hard way today.
Yeah,
just today. Yeah,
Welcome to SIG
yeah,
Node.
welcome to the club. Yeah.
Our tests definitely make sense.
Like,
It's great.
I'm
It's
trying to
not
fix
tech debt.
eviction tests. I learned a lot of horrible things about our test suite in the process.
There's also a big warning, so that's cool. I'm just learning so many new things. Misplaced and legacy tests. Okay, so apparently we're supposed to clean these up, Sergey.
Okay. Okay, but yeah, we're on the same page that this kubelet local can be applied universally in sig describe function, right? Because like the same way we apply sig node to all the tests, we can apply kubelet local there.
Well, maybe what we should do is we should get rid of this and we should focus on like building up this weird E to E node suite.
Okay, but then returning to your first suggestion about CRI validation, I think I was suggesting that we will basically mark everything that doesn't require any special requirements and graduate it with some conformance tag. So you're suggesting to split it into features rather than keep it as a conformance.
So conformance has very specific requirements. Like right now, I think they are only conformance tests have to be reviewed by a conformance reviewer, which is why I suggested we maybe poke Aaron, because I know that he's one of the conformance reviewers, like not in New Zealand. So maybe a little bit better time zone overlap. Anyways, so as far as the conformance tests go, I think they only really test stuff that's in a user-facing API, and Node has a lot of stuff. So for example, anything that's just testing, for example, the kubelet talking to the container runtime, anything that's just like exercising that and doesn't involve like a user submitting a specification, like that's usually not considered for a conformance test. So the conformance test is just checking like the surface area of the external API.
Yeah, that's why we need to rename it for sure. That's why, like, if you switch to the document, I suggesting that we, like, in this category will be all the tests that feeds, like, that are agnostic and don't require special environment. So all the CRI tests will fit, like most of the CRI tests will fit into this description.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of like conformance test requirements.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm talking about not conformance tag. That was never this.
Yeah. It was never that. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I agree with the plan for like for all of the stuff that's like, you know, features and whatnot. Like those should go there. But like for the stuff that's GA that is not eligible for like becoming a conformance test, because I think there's going to be a bunch of stuff that isn't. I'm saying, what do we do about those? Well, maybe we make like a CRI specific suite that's a subset of what this is in order to make sure. Because when I said like, can we just rename node conformance to like, you know, CRI conformance or something like that, I got, no, that's not what node conformance is. It's also these other things. So.
So do you think we need a, so in the document, I suggest that everything that is vendor agnostic will have a common tag. So you're saying we don't need this common tag. We just need like subsets, like sub areas that we need to like highlight. So I was thinking like we need a common tag, so something that can be run on single node independently from any component that you're running. You just run all the tests and you're good from node perspective. So I wanted this tag for node conformance.
Yeah, so I'm saying,
yeah, it's intersection of this plus node conformance ish, like.
Yes. So node conformance goes away for like this sort of thing, the stuff that runs on a single node. We call them one of these things. But then if like we want to continue doing whatever this like CRI validation thing is, which right now we are using to select tests for the different CRIs, like we're running node conformance as I think pre-submits and a bunch of other stuff. Like for those things, we might want to have a special tag for that. And that maybe that should be CRI validation for tests that conform with this policy. Because right now we don't, like we're missing.
So CRI validation is one of the features. So let me try to explain how I see it. Like CRI validation is, CRI is one of the feature we're testing. So it's area of kubelet that we may want to mark. but we also need a common tag saying all these tests are vendor agnostic and run on any runtime. So we want to mark them all together. And this, and by runtime, I mean environment as a whole. So it includes some configuration tests, some like conformance tests, some like resource allocation tests. So all these tests can run independently from environment, and we mark them as single tag. So we can run it as part of like PR validation or something like that. That's why I wanted like common tag for everything. That is not the same as kubelet local, because kubelet local is a superset of that.
No,
Kubelet local might have a swap, for instance, and swap cannot be conformance.
Well, swap can't be conformance, but I think a bunch of the CRI stuff also can't be conformance. So this is why I'm saying we should stay away from.
Yeah, not the conformance, but we need a new name, but not conformance, not, yeah. We need a good name, not sanity that Mike suggested, Artyom suggested.
Oh, and I guess
like sanity is like a base suite of tests that we will just say the kubelet is working fine without any problems. Like, I don't know.
Oh, and then we've also separately got this like CRI validation testing, but that doesn't show that it like works in concert with Cube. So maybe CRI validation is also a bad name, because we already have that in CRI tools, which is different.
Maybe not basic instead of not conformance, or not basic tests.
Well, you'd emphasized like and like we wanted to be agnostic of environment, so maybe like node agnostic.
It's a complicated name.
Yes, all of these names are complicated. I think honestly, you know, the brainstorming is good, but we've spent a while discussing this topic, so I suspect probably like the best thing to do is to like think about this asynchronously, send out a doc for feedback. So Sergey, can I action you to send out a doc, the node conformance doc soliciting feedback?
Yeah, I think in PR may be better, so maybe I will send it as a PR.
And so I guess maybe also like I think that this stuff isn't reflected currently in that doc, so maybe just like add a plan to cover splitting the use cases for current tests. And I will leave that in your very capable hands. Sergey.
Do we also plan to get rid of this E2E legacy?
I don't know.
Long term? Yeah.
No idea.
Eventually,
after
like we'll get rid of it eventually after we've all forgotten about it and someone else reads the README again in like 5 years.
I mean, that's where we're at, so you know. Okay, let's see. I put a thing on here for 122 burn down. We were in really good shape the last time I looked. So like not to give us too much of a pat on the back, but let's take a quick look. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. That's gonna take 6 years to load. Oh, it did it. Oh, this is not gonna be useful for searching anyways. So last I checked, we were doing really good for 122 burned down. So there's a bunch of stuff here, and not all of it is us. But like, we only have 9 things, and we're like not even at test freeze. So that's better than last release. So great work, everybody. Stuff that are specific to us is, I think, this bug plus the 4 tests that are being tracked. And I think that this one. Some of them are like, they're not regressions, they're not new. So I think probably none of them have to land this release. Like, I think all of these are old flakes. So none of them are going to be release blockers, but we can continue working on them. This is the only thing that maybe should be a release blocker. So, and it looks like there's a thing going on with runc here. So I will maybe take for this one, I will try to follow up with that one online. Let's see, let's go through these. Artyom, what's going on with this one?
Probably we are waiting for some input from someone who is more familiar with the C advisor.
Ah, okay. So I guess
You already pinged someone, Bobby
yeah.
Page.
Sergey, do you know what's going on with this?
Yeah, I will ask again what's going on.
Artyom, do you want me to unassign you so that I don't end up, I don't end up pinging you? Maybe David didn't see it. Cool. Okay, so no updates on that one. Oh, our favorite test. Matthias, I owe you a review or something, I think.
Yeah, I think I reviewed the HackMD document that you sent.
I haven't had a chance to look at it. It's not linked here.
No, it's on the other one, the hack document.
Where was your PR? I don't know, I can't find it. Oh, maybe it's this one. This was the one that I think I put a hold on. Yeah, we were digging into this and okay, here's the HackMD. I haven't had a chance to look at this since last week because I got really bogged up with code freeze.
Yeah, I think timing looks good. I only have one comment on proposed change. I don't know whether this change is actually needed. I mean, it's not a bad idea to do it. Basically, idea here is that we have a ready state and we assign it in the very end. Like we calculate the ready state and then assign it at the very end. But there is like a go routine in the middle that may execute faster. So I think I gave a comment that there is one more place that may benefit from being properly assigned.
I didn't see your comments, Sergey.
So there is like stars there or some like sign in HackMD. If you scroll all the way down. Yeah. Well, thingy, this thingy.
Yeah, so one of my concerns with this is basically when I was looking into the code, I did a bit of a deep dive for this and I sort of concluded, I thought that this test was written kind of weird, but then I also went and looked at the underlying code that it was testing, and that code was also potentially buggy. So like there was, I think this case where I was like, I think there's a race condition because we go and we trigger this thing asynchronously, but then we immediately go here and we set the status to ready, which might overrun whatever ends up getting run. So there's a race.
Yes, absolutely.
So I thought this chunk here was kind of weird. And I feel like probably fixing this, I feel like it's too late in the release to do this now, but this is something that we might want to do next release. I think it's probably like fine to tweak the thresholds and see if that at least reduces the flakiness of the test. And then we can take it as sort of a backlog thing to try to fix this. Because I think this is a real bug. And I think that the test is catching a real bug. But having it flake constantly is like unpleasant for everyone.
Yes, I agree. Okay, so I will create one PR and one issue for that, and assign to the 23.
Okay, and I think this isn't enough compared to like what's. We need to also increase the frequency, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
But I didn't want to change my PR for the test.
That's okay. That's okay. I want to make sure that I write down accurately because I'm going to put a comment on here. Discussed in SIG Node CI meeting. I guess today is July 14th. We will.
It's National Day in France.
Oh yeah, happy Bastille Day. We will adopt the proposal outlined here to update the frequencies in the E2E test to decrease flakiness and take a backlog item to fix the possible race identified here. And you will file an update. Sound good?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Okay, that one's in great shape. I'm so glad we're making progress on that because I know that's been haunting all of us. Okay, pod should run through the lifecycle of pods and pod status. What's going on with this one? Something. Oh, this is the weird. It's just failing for kubelet orphans, and it looks like there was a fix.
So yes, there was like fix, but it's still failing in the node orphans. And now I have like a debug output, which doesn't really help. But since I'm on vacation currently, I didn't take extra time to look at it. So I will, but soon enough, I promise.
That's okay. It looks like all of these are memory manager tests. So perhaps does anyone from the memory manager side of the house interested?
Yes, I'm interested, but in general, like we have a separate lane for the memory manager, and it should be just excluded from orphan tests. That it's funny that we have them.
Well, maybe that'll fix this then if we exclude that. So do you want me to assign you to do that?
Yeah. I will just check the test, like under the testing from job config.
Okay. And I will unassign. Making such good progress. Amazing. Okay, last one. This one is pods should support pod readiness gates. What's going on with this one, Francesco?
I'm still waiting. I'm still struggling to reproduce locally because in CI, it's hard for me. And truth to be told, I was super busy with the code freeze. So yeah, this one and another one I'll need to prioritize. It's on me, sorry.
Understandable. I mean, it's not
understandable, still bad. I promise I can do better.
No. I mean, it's fine. Like, I guess since whatever happened over here, like this is flaking less. I mean, maybe it's just because code freeze happened, so CI isn't necessary. I don't know if like frequency of PR scaling is actually reduced.
The real blocker is that works like a charm on my environment, so I really need to invest some time on see why it breaks on CI.
I guess one thing I'm a little bit curious about is like who owns this feature, pod readiness gate? No, not all of GitHub. I just want this repo. GitHub, you're trying to be too smart. I can't find a cap for it, which makes me think it maybe has been around for a while. No, it looks like it went GA in 1.14, so that's probably why there's no cap. So it's been around for a while. Which probably means whoever wrote this is disappeared.
We have also PR to just increase the timeout. Let me fetch the link, but I'm not sure why it is not progressing. Ah, yeah, readiness gate timeout, this one. So I shared in the chat.
Oh, there's so much going on in the chat. Did this help?
You know, it's the first try. Improve the logs and give it more time, because I really suspect something in the CI. So yeah, not claiming is the fix, but it should help.
Oh yeah, I guess this waited forever.
It's 1
until
minute.
the test timed out. Oh, okay.
It's less than minutes, 30 seconds. There is a nice comment which explained why forever is 30 seconds.
I see. So this just looks like it's kind of a, at least from this refactor, this looks like it's just kind of a poorly written test. This at least is a little bit.
And you'll have better logging.
Yeah.
Spot status.
I think this is fine. Looks good to me. We can probably skip the serial tests since they're broken. Great. Well, that's progress. Awesome work. And then I guess, Francesco, you had a couple of things. We want to talk about serial?
Yeah, I want to serial because it's quick. And Artyom pointed to me that the CPU manager test is failing lately. So I believe, but I need to check. And again, code freeze frenzy was why I didn't check yet, that this bug I filed some time ago is actually broken now. The reason is the CPU manager end-to-end test, they assume a very specific CPU layout. They are just fragile, so they can break. For example, the cloud provider just changes CPU generation, they can break. So it could happen. And this is, of course, outside our control. So while I can say, hey, they break because of this fragility, this is surely something we need to address, and it's a good chance. So once I get the chance, I will start looking into that and possibly fix this issue. So I was just point out that it could be the test fragile. So that's something we should take into account.
Let me pull up the serial tab.
And I, by the way, I have fixes for those two somewhere.
The critical pod and the device plugin ones?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Do we have bugs for those?
Not sure.
Because we should probably fix those. Let me. There's a bunch of things that look like they're maybe flaking, but these two look.
I can fetch
Let me
the links
search.
if you want to have a look.
I have some question regarding the dynamic configuration, kubelet configuration. I saw it deprecated now,
Yes.
and I just curious when it will be removed, because we need to adapt all our tests, CPU manager, memory manager, topology manager.
It'll be at
according
least
to-
one release.
Okay.
Sergey probably can speak to that since that's his thing.
Yeah, it's at least one release. I think the only user right now we found is maybe Alibaba, and I'm not sure how vocal they will be about removing it. But yeah, I'm aware that there are tests relying on that. I thought that deprecation will go faster and I will have time to start migrating some tests.
Yeah, but we still have some more serious deprecation regarding Docker, because our tests, all E2E nodes still is using Docker. So we probably should move it to use containerd.
Yeah, a lot of E2E node relies on dynamic kubelet config too, like the eviction test and stuff.
Okay, so I'm going to file one bug for each one of these failing tests.
Yes, please, thanks. For some reason, I didn't think about filing bugs. But
I
yes.
love how there's this magical, I don't know if anybody's seen this, but you could do this magical file a bug thing in test grid and it will just let you do the thing.
Awesome.
So let's see, find failing test, sig node, CC Francesco, failing on kubelet serial job. Let me at least maybe include the tab. That would be nice of me, wouldn't it? I didn't do that on the last one. So feel free to, or I should probably just edit that. My first comment. Cool. I guess that's kind of all I had, unless anybody has anything else for the serial things.
Not at the moment.
I need to take a look at the CI board and see if there's anything there that's waiting on me. As far as like features go, we're in great shape for code freeze, and I know everybody's been working really hard. So thanks everybody for all of the effort that you've been putting in. Things are looking really good.
Yay!
We can probably pump this one to next week, so I'll just do that.
Okay, cool. I will be better prepared.
It'll be we'll be like less exhausted from all of the code freeze and bug squashing and who knows what else. Sergey, you got anything else?
No, I look at CI board and all the issues are assigned. So if you have any issues, just please take a look. Well, like not issues, PRs assigned for reviewers. And
yeah,
we
I'm
need to
worried that
bug
I'm
somebody
slacking on
like
that.
Bruno maybe to approve. Like we have 13 that needs approval.
I don't know if I can put me, but oh, there's a couple that are assigned to me that I haven't looked at. So I'm guilty. Sorry.
Oh, all in the same boat.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything else to throw in here.
And we're almost
Sure.
at time, so I think we can
Yeah.
get 8 minutes back.
I guess we've got these two new wonderful things. Oh, there's a few. Is that us? I think that is a support thing. I'll get to that one later. Cool. Maybe let's just quickly look at this one because I didn't see this. I thought this looks like a scalability thing. So I guess there's this one new thing. Yeah, this is GCE master scale correctness. That doesn't sound like us.
Elana, sorry, just a quick question. The Flake pod readiness fix or, well, improvement we just reviewed, should it be in the milestone? Because it lacks the milestone label.
I think we'll see, like, depending on what the fix looks like. And then I am a milestone maintainer, so I can add things to the milestone.
Okay, cool. Great.
So just
Thanks.
ping me and I will do that.
Thanks.
I feel like, did we merge something recently that changed SSH-y things?
It changed some subset of them, but not everything yet, I think.
Okay, so maybe I'll CC, I think that was Sasha's PR, so I'll CC him and then see what happens. Because I guess this was just filed 3 hours ago, so. Otherwise, I think we're done.
Cool. Thank you for driving the screen.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah, no problem, Sergey. Hopefully next week you'll have your setting fixed.
I have much better picture now, right? At least video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sergey in HD.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, folks.